People often treat depressed individuals differently because they do not understand what depression truly is. Our aim is to educate on depression, raise awareness of stigma, and how to help people who have it. What are some examples of misconceptions people hold about depressed people?
There are some really important misconceptions on both sides. So if you had somebody with a heart disease, you would say, well, it wasn't their fault that they got heart disease, but in fact, there are things that they can do to make it a little bit better. So although they are probably predisposed to get heart disease, like genetically vulnerable, they also can do things like exercise to make it a little bit better. And so there's misconceptions on both sides with depression because it's not considered in that same medical category, that although we could consider it really as a medical disease. There's people that think that we should just be able to change it. If you had enough willpower, you wouldn't be depressed, and so that's one misconception, but we wouldn't say that about heart disease,
Can you describe how people with depression view themselves, as well as any stigmas they assign to themselves?
Well, so we all, if we're not experiencing depression, we have what we call rose-colored glasses on. And rose-colored glasses mean that we see the world actually a little bit better than it is. It's kind of a nice thing. We see the world positively. But when somebody is depressed, they kind of take those rose-colored glasses off, and they see the world negatively, like most aspects of the world negatively. So we call it a negative affective bias. That's the technical term we call it. But they just see themselves more negatively, they see other people, they interpret situations more negatively. And so that perpetuates this negative stigma about themselves. So they see themselves and any belief that they might have had about depression more negatively as well.
Do you see a certain stigma assigned to depressed people?
Yeah, it's getting better in society, but we're not there yet. It takes on average, about 6 years from somebody who is suffering pretty significantly to get help for their mood problems. And that lets us know that there's some pretty important impacts.
What mental illness do you have, and how long have you been aware of it?
I have depression and anxiety, and I've known since 7th grade, and I started seeking treatment then too. And yeah, it's just been continuous since then. So.
Name examples of mental stigma you've experienced or have seen.
Some stigmas that you can see, usually the most popular ones are like, blame, like shame, feeling like afraid, like doubtful of yourself, but yeah. I haven't really experienced any like stigmas like to me personally, but I've experienced, people say it's not that bad, people have it worse, but it's hard to, undermine depression and anxiety when it's like, it's very serious and it's different for all the different types of people, and people experience things differently, and you can't really, guess how someone's feeling or guess how their mental state is, so.
What do you believe is the main cause of stigma towards mental illnesses?
People are uneducated. People don't know about mental health and how to like deal with people who have it, people kind of just downplay it and don't really take as much seriousness into it as it should have.
Language matters. So when you're talking to someone, be mindful of what you're saying, because words can make or break a person, as well as a situation. Educate yourself. Instead of making assumptions, put some effort into learning about depression. Be kind. Treat someone with a mental illness like depression the same way you would treat someone who has a physical illness. Listen and ask. Be open-minded and ask questions so you can further your perspective. Talk about it. Break the stigma by first breaking the silence. There's no shame in talking about mental illnesses, so show that by going out there and doing it.